When I went to um, when I went to Mexico, my uh, with the extended family, they're like, Simon, there's a phrase you need to remember. I was like, what is it? They're like, cuatro cerveza. I'm like, did you just tell me how to ask for 4 beers? I'm like, four? Geez, like, because one is not enough. Like, you have to go with four. Give me four. Ah. Oh my goodness. One is not enough, guys, apparently. So, um, you go back. How you guys doing? Everybody okay? Everybody doing good? What's happening with the project? How are you guys feeling about it? Anybody want to share their thoughts on how are things progressing on their end?
It's going good. There's a lot more steps that I realized than I originally had in my project plan.
Yeah. Um, yeah. A lot more work for sure. Um, and so just to clarify also, your project plan can be flexible or fluid, if you want to call it. And so you can go back and make changes to it if you want to, so it won't matter as much. The one thing that I look for um, in the project plan before the review, so sorry, I should say during the review, the one thing I look for is technologies that you have in your project schedule. Is that what I see in front of me when I do the review? If it is yes, then I don't look at the deadlines and all that because you finish your project, right? So then I don't see it because it's all done. Similarly, your client is not going to see it if you're all done. He won't see the end date if you finish your project before that end date or on that end date. He won't care if the rest of the technologies were implemented sooner or even later within that time frame, right? So it doesn't matter. And so I follow I apply the same principles when I am doing the review. Um, the one thing I pick on though is your design. So if your design does not match what I see in front of me, we don't, that's the first thing I'm going to say. Open up your design, open up all your VMs. Everything is on. Is this what I see here? If there's anything different, we stop the review right away. So again, just so the ones that I look for when I'm looking at the design, and that is making sure that the diagram reflects what I see in reality, and also your project schedule has the same technologies, right? Like I said, I don't care much about those deadlines as long as they are all done before our review, right? Um, okay, let's go back to hold on. Why do we why is it like that? Um, okay, let's change it. It's my display settings. So what happens huh? What's going on? Okay. Where's my, oh, 1, 2, this one is the, you know what? Revert back those changes. What is going on with this system, dude? So, okay. Um, so I have my setup at home. When I plug in my computer to my monitor at home, and then I come to the office and I have a docking station here on my desk. I'm not on my desk right now. I'm in a meeting room. So they have instructors who are teaching sort of on campus, but then also they have online classes sort of back to back. They give them a meeting room in here just so they can teach in that meeting room if they're teaching online. So in the meeting room, there is another docking station. So it looks like there is so many profiles and my computer is getting confused. I probably need to create profiles for each of those different scenarios just so my laptop is not acting up every time we meet. For now, this should be okay. It's not a big deal. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and then start and then look at what we have planned for today. Let me close this. Uh, okay, we'll talk about that just shortly. I just remembered something. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Hold on, Teams. That's Teams. Uh, share. Share your screen, which is this. There we go. Bring this one down here. All right, so this is our beautiful course page on Brightspace. That's D2L. Let's go ahead and look at, okay, you can stay down there. That's okay. Let's open up the schedule and see what we have planned for today. And so today we've got project schedule, right? So that's what we have. Okay, maybe this thing can just stay down here. Or you know what? Let's just minimize it. We have the project, sorry, so please submit your project schedule today. If you want me to look at it, I can look at it today, right after this class. If you guys if somebody wants to set up like a one-on-one with me, we can do that before the 27th, which is tomorrow. So if you guys done with your diagram and your project schedule and your project charter, you can ping me after the class and say, hey, Sammy, can we go through my documents and get your feedback? If you want to do it today or if you want to leave it for tomorrow, that's fine either. Just so you know, because we have a lot of students in this class, so just to confirm, if I click on grades, how many students? I think we have like 29, 30, like what do we got? So we got 10 here. 50 per page. How many students we've got then? I think we got 30 if I recall. I think we got 30. We got 30 students, I think. And so I think so. Yeah, 30 students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18. No, oh no, we got 19 students. Never mind. We got 19 students. No, I'm thinking about something else here. So we've got 19 students. What I'm trying to say is that we may not have the time to go through everybody tomorrow. So for those who want to do it today, I'm okay with that too. All right. Let's go ahead and do this. So we have the course schedule today, and then of course we're going to cover the risk register. So let me go ahead and open up the risk register. There we go. Let's just download this baby. Open it up. Okay, I think you guys are familiar with this sort of cover page. Um, okay, no worries yet. Oh, Osama, I've got you right after class here. So based on the message that you sent me yesterday, so I've got you. I'm gonna phone you right after class just to go through your stuff, and then I've got Ahmed to go through his stuff as well. So if others want to, if you guys were interested, just post in the chat saying, yep, today would be lovely, if possible. And then after we end up, after I stop sharing my screen, I can just look at the chat and then see who wants to go today. So again, same thing, cover page, you add your name, put your logo over here. Version control, this is just like any other version control documents that we have seen. Because this is your first document, you're just gonna write today's date and then say document creation. And then when you come back, make changes to it, you can add more, like you can go down here and pick more lines, go version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on and so forth. Okay, so just so you know, the risk register is about you managing your risks during this project. And so the way you manage your, and we'll go through some criteria and I'll open up some examples as well. But the way you rate your risks is based on this heat map that you see here. And so if you think that the risk is high, then this is something just so you can keep it in the back of your mind, and you need to monitor that as you're going through the implementation. So the question is, what are some of the things we need to worry about? If we can see those examples of those different categories. So here's an example. So the first one is environment corruption. Environment corruption. And so this is if your VMs like get corrupted, what are you gonna do? And so saying here, this is the category of the risk. And so for environment corruption, are we talking about one VM? Are we talking about all VMs? Are we talking about, for example, your external drive got corrupted where all your VMs sit? Like, what are we talking about here? So for each type, you can have multiple risks, right? So you can say, number one, you can type your risks, whatever it is. Number two, type your risks, whatever it is. Number three, type your risks, whatever they are. So you could do it that way, or what you could do, you can introduce like new, you can do it in a way where you say, okay, I'm gonna introduce new line. So you do it like this, insert row below, and then I'm gonna say insert row below. So there are three risks that you're worried about, right? And so what happens, all of those one, then they can merge. What is a merge option here? Where is that? There's a merge option here. Where did that go? Oh, that's in Excel. There's one on Windows too. I can't remember. I can't remember the one on Windows where it is. But you can start merging those cells, and then you can write down the risk over here. So the first one I'm worried about, like for example, a VM corruption. And so if that is the case, if you have a VM corruption, what is the probability of that happening? Say the probability of that happening, you can go up here, look at the probability saying, it's probably 3. And if that happens, maybe the impact is 4 or 5, right? Say the probability is 3, the impact is 4. And so 3 times 4, what do you get? So you get 3 and then 4. Where do they meet? They meet in the middle, so it's medium. So you write down here, medium. Oh, okay, so you write down medium. So what's your mitigation if something like this happens? We say here external drive with backup that occurs daily or weekly or whatever it is. Okay, what is the second risk that you are worried about when it comes to environment corruption? I'll give you another one here saying snapshot corruption. And so because snapshot, when they get corrupted, you can't turn on the VM, by the way, just so you know. So you say snapshot corruption. So that's not the actual VM, but the snapshot is corrupted. And you're saying, okay, the probability of that happening is maybe 4. You're just applying your judgment over here. There's no like science behind it. You're applying your judgment based on your experience throughout the program. Have you seen a lot of VM corruption? Have you gone through that? Have you seen some snapshot corruptions? Have you gone through that? And so just add it over here saying, oh, the impact maybe is 2 because I already have my backup. Oh, we have a question. Do we have a question? Are you guys recording this or not? I suggest you do. You guys recording, right? Are you guys recording? Are we? OneDrive is a good place. It's about 1 tera. Excellent. Yes. Yeah, we are recording, right? It says here recording. There we go. We are recording. Yeah. So we're good. Yeah. So again, so just back to the risk. So what happens is like you basically reflect on your own experiences over here. Like we're gonna look at samples here shortly, just so you guys have an idea. If you want to expand on your risk register, but this is just an example. You may say, okay, total. You can say hard disk failure, like on your computer, because all you have the VMs on your laptop. So and then your hard disk crashed, right? Just go hard disk failure, right? Hard disk failure. Probably that happening, maybe not so much. So 1 to 5, like, and that's 1 is low, 5 is like really high. And then the impact is the same thing. Maybe the impact, well, the impact may be high for sure. Because if that happens to you, you're like, okay, I'm really worried now, right? So 1 and 5, where do they meet? 1 and 5, it's medium. Okay, so just write down medium here. Oh, sorry, here. You write down medium. And then, of course, remember for mitigation, it's not just one mitigation. You can have multiple mitigations, right? You say, okay, I'm going to have external drive. So in this case, you say I'm going to have external drive, and also you're going to have snapshots. In this case, you see, I'm going to have just external drive. Okay, external drive with daily backup, just so you can do a restore whenever needed. In this case, your hard disk failure. So what are your mitigations? Oh, I need to take my laptop for repair. Say laptop repair. Laptop repair. Remember, when you're saying laptop repair, do you have a backup if your laptop crashes and you need 4 weeks to address this issue? Right? Or you're going to say, you know what? I'm not waiting 4 weeks. I'm going to go buy a new hard disk, right? So I say buy a new drive. Sorry. Buy and install a new disk drive. And then you're going to restore from backup. Restore from backup. Right? And then you're going to continue your project. Right? And so this is like sort of this can be your those things can be your actions, and then you can, like, if you want to again make it a little bit better, you can play around with the formats. Oh, come on, you can do something like this again, just to sort of clarify that those are 2 different those are like separate entries. Of course, the person responsible here for you, in this case, I'm just going to write, like, if it is your, like, because it's your project, write down you're the one who's responsible for doing this, right? So, okay, accidental deletion of objects. So, for example, if you, this happened, by the way, so just so you know, I had a group that made an OU with a lot of course, users in there and everything, and they accidentally deleted an OU. So just be careful. So again, you accidentally delete an object. So this can be like a human error. So you're not doing this intentionally on your, like, why would you hurt yourself, right? So this is like a human error. And so if you accidentally did something like that, again, so what is then the risk to your project? How would you address that? Project design is incomplete. So this happens because this is a solo project. I anticipate there'll be a lot of issues here. Some people are still trying to figure out what they want to add as part of the project. Remember when we said there is a part in your project where you need to add your either Linux or SharePoint or Exchange or WDS, and we've given some options, right? So some people did not figure that out yet, or they're a little bit on the fence on what they want to do when it comes to that specific part, right? So then your project design is not really finalized, right? And so what happens if that project design is incomplete? What do you know the risks that you're going to get into? I can tell you right now, you're constantly spending time experimenting with different technologies until you figure out the one you need, the one that suits you, which means you are taking a lot of time to complete the requirements of the project, right? So this is, you could call it, for example, so this is time consumption on experimenting with technologies. This is a big issue, by the way, just so you know. Reason why I say that, because you're going to get so hung up on trying to get something to work to figure out what best suits you. And you're going to lose a lot of time trying to complete the other requirements. Okay, so which is going to be a very big problem. So again, you can do something like this. Remember, in each of those categories, you can have one or multiple, right? You can have one or multiple. Now, let's say, for example, you actually one of the risks materialized, like it actually happened to you. You just refer to this document and see what is it that you're expected to do, right? So this is like for you to manage your own projects, right? In case something happens to you, what are you going to do? During COVID, I had students writing here, yep, students will get infected with COVID. Okay, so then what happens in that case? It's like, okay, somebody else is going to cover for him, but they need to give us the evidence that he actually had COVID and everything, right? So like, that's how they did it in the group implementation. So just so you know, and it says right here, team member illness, which in this case does not apply to you because this is a solo project, right? So you can just remove this. Lack communication, again, you need to remove this. Scope creep, and so this is when people get into, for example, they add a lot more in their project. They add a lot more in their project to focus on bonus grades. So did we talk about this, by the way, bonus grades? Let me go back to the chat and see what's happening. Did we talk about bonus grades? Did we?
I don't think so.
I don't think. Okay. So what happens? Okay, so what happens, some students, what do they do? This is something we talk about during implementation. Sorry, before we start the implementation, we talk about bonus grades and say, okay, this is your project. This is what you committed on completing as part of your design. And then you put up a schedule. The schedule is more like for you to manage your own time. Okay, so that's really what it is. But then somebody says, you know what, I can add more to my project and make it look a little bit nicer. They added to add some other tool, right? Especially those who have a lot of RAM on their laptops. Some of you may have a lot more than 32 gig, and so may choose to, or even on your home computer. So by the way, you don't have to do the capstone on your laptop. If you want to do it on your home computer, go for it. If it's easier for you, like it doesn't bother me, as long as you have your camera on during the official review. Okay. And so some people may decide to do the projects on a computer that is a little bit more capable and can support other technologies, right? They can expand on their project. And so somebody may say, you know what, I'm going to add, for example, I'm going to add, say, SharePoint, or I'm going to add Exchange as part of my project. Those who finish early, they can actually add something to their project. So what do I do then? That is, if they do it properly, Not just doing the installation, say, hey, I want a bonus grades. No, they actually have it to get it going and working and in a way that suits their project and suits their environment, right? And if they do that, I give them bonus grades. So what bonus grades are, say, for example, you did not do well on some of the part of your project, I take the bonus grades as a way to compensate for any gaps that you have in your project. So that's what I do. Um, Reason why I don't bring it up during the planning phase, because I don't want you to assume that this is something you have to do. Like it's optional, right? So I don't want to bring up optional things just so that it doesn't confuse you on in your design and also in your implementation. Somebody says, okay, well, do I need then to add the optional technologies later on in my design? No, you don't. That's why we don't bring it up. So this is if you finish your project early, you know you are solid on everything. You do a soft review with me, you are good. You want to go and expand on your project a little bit and add other technologies because you're looking for bonus grades to compensate for the gaps that you have. We can accommodate that. So just so you know, we can accommodate that. Okay. However, what happens though, what does that relate to the risk register? And some people get hung up on it way too much. And so, which then impacts the time they have left to complete the required stuff in their project, which is a problem, right? And so this is what I call then scope creep. Like you're deviating from your project and focusing on the optional stuff and you're forgetting your time commitment that you have on the actual requirements that you have to complete, right? So we call that scope creep. Um, this is one of the main reasons why I don't bring it up during the design. And I also don't bring it up during the project scheduling when you guys are figuring out your schedule, just so you don't confuse on what is needed and what's optional, and maybe feel pressured that now that you have it's in a document, that means you have to deliver, right? And that's not the case. In fact, when we do the soft review, the last thing I'm going to say, okay, so we went through all the requirements. Is there anything else you want to show me? Anything optional that you have made in addition to the requirements? Then you can show me. And I'll tell you, yes, this counts for grade. No, that doesn't count for grade. Those are really little things. No, that won't. So anything that is then a major in your project, then that will qualify as a bonus grades. Okay, so just so you know, that's sort of the expectation of the risk register. Shall we open up a sample and look at what others have written? Are you guys down with that? Do you guys want to look at some samples? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Ah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. Let me go back to Moodle. Do you guys remember Moodle? Who remembers Dora the Explorer? Oh, my daughter used to watch that thing like nonstop. Backpack, backpack. Oh my God. Okay, let's go back to, let's see what we got here. So let me go to my backpack and get you your project. Look at the risk register. This is just an example for the groups who have submitted. Of course, that's not their final submission. This is just their first draft, right? So let's open this up. Very simple logo. Look at this. Nice. Okay. Oh, physical damage, environmental corruption. Of course, they anticipated that as environment corruption. They anticipated that as like uh, like a storm hitting their house. you know, and like, or even going on power outage or whatever it is, right? I'm like, so I'm not like, I'm glad they thought of all of that, you know, when they were doing their going through their risk register. But some of the examples here, like equipment theft, objects removed corrupted, or configuration is invalid, additional unplanned VM configuration, unforeseen project dependencies, member is incapacitated, misunderstanding of agreement upon direction. This is all like has to do with group project that will not affect you, because you're doing this as solo, right? Task is incomplete. This is a good one for scope creep. Task is significantly delayed. Again, another good one when you're looking at scope creep. And the third one, what I would include there is optional technologies that are time consuming. Okay, this is one sample. Let's look at others who have prepared something similar. Let's see. Someone else has the same design. One of you has the same design. Who's that? Someone got the same design. Who's got the same design? Who's got the same? Somebody got the same design. Who's that? Who's got the same design? Is the responsibility column irrelevant due to the fact that this is a solo project? That's correct. So just remove that column if you want to, because it's just you, right? So then it won't matter. Let's look at this. Let's see what they've got here. Disconnection during operation. This is a good one. Because a lot of people do their project on their external drive, and sometimes when the cable is loose, while you're making the configuration, the virtual disk on your VM gets corrupted. It happens all the time with my students. In fact, I saw one today, happened today with one of the students. So just again, something to be careful. And so one of the groups, they had two backups, not even one, two. Like there is a backup that happens once every week, they do backup, and there's once every day they do backup. So not a bad idea, by the way. Not a bad idea. Oh, you come to me and you tell me, Sami, I have this issue. I don't know what to do in the project. The first thing I'm going to say, is it in your risk register? No? Okay, go ahead, add it into your risk register. So what are you going to do now? And I said this before, and I say it again. Your project, not mine. You drive it. I don't. I just give you the parameters and the guidelines, and I act as a project, sort of, or like an advisor to your project, right? I don't touch your configuration. You have sort of to manage your own project, and we approach that, and we follow that same mindset all throughout the entire course, right? So again, what are some of the things that they would do proactively and then reactively as well? And so here, version compatibility issues. This is a good one because especially for those who are using, for example, are doing Exchange, SharePoint, any other sort of optional technologies that are Microsoft related, you may have compatibility issues. And so this is a good one. Improper shutdown procedure. That's a very popular one too. Backups are corrupted. Good one. Deleted wrong VMs, OUs, or even users. What are we going to do? Documents are not up to date. Okay, that's a good one. Unable to make it to meetings. This is not relevant to you because, again, you guys are doing this solo project. So this is, again, lack of communication, illness among team members. That's not relevant to you, so it won't matter. Scope creep. Work is going well and attempt to increase project difficulty by adding features, like for bonus grades, right? Remember? And so, like I said, don't get hung up on this too much. Focus on the required stuff that you have to complete, all the required tasks that you have to finish. Then, when you have the time, and if you have the time to, then you can start doing other things, right? And so, just so you don't sort of ruin your project and and also your documentation, because if you need to go back to your project and take screenshots for some things and build your documents, and if your environment is corrupted because you decided to make some changes for bonus grades, that'll also impact your documentation, right? So just be careful. What I suggest you do documentations as you're doing implementation. Drive failure, natural disaster, okay, understandable. Trouble with completing assigned task. This is more like has to do with group project. This is just another example. Let's open a third one here just to make sure that we look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. I think that's Dylan and Josh. That's their project. So again, just some examples of here. Backup devices corrupt or malfunction, missing backup device, VM got corrupted, devices and data storage getting damaged or lost. A virtual machine is deleted by a team member, like as in by accident. AD object is accidentally deleted by a team member. Again, all of those things by accident. The implementation does not match the written design. Good one. Some of the requirements are not met. Okay, so that's also a risk that you have to manage. Don't write here as an implementation, oh, I'm going to beg the instructor to give me grades. That's not a mitigation strategy. Oh my goodness. Lack of communication, team illness, this is not relevant to you guys. Scope creep, addition to the project that cannot be accounted for. Okay. Incomplete requirements due to the lack of motive. Okay, that's again. So by the way, you can add additional categories if you want. You can do that. So the categories that you see in the project, sorry, in the risk register, they're not fixed. You can make changes to them if you want to. Questions for me, anybody? Questions for me? Maybe I should stop sharing. It's a very simple document. Normally, it takes the students just a couple of hours to finish it up. So it's not a big deal. Questions? Anybody about the risk register? When is the due date for this? Tomorrow. So, okay. Let's talk about deadline. Just to clarify something. You know what? Let me open up. Let me open up the. We saw the samples. Let me go back to. So sorry, I thought I shared my screen. Okay, never mind. Back to sharing my screen. This one? Yeah. Okay. Yo, what's going on with this docking station? Is it? No, it's the resolution of the screens. That's what's happening here. Yeah. Okay, I see what's going on there. Okay. I'll fix that later. Okay. Okay. So is this so the deadline for everything for all your plans for all the documentation you made so far? So that's phase 1 and phase 2. We'll do the official review on this date tomorrow, right? Somebody comes, so remember next week on Monday, we don't have classes. It's the Truth and Reconciliation Day. So we don't have classes that day. If you want to do your review here, so this is just an example. You didn't finish, right? Okay. You want to do your review here. Maybe you don't have the time. You want to do it here. Or you want to do your review here, right? On October 24th. This is eating up from the time you have left to do implementation. Keep that in mind. The fact that you are stretching the time does not change the deadline that you do over here, the official review with me. That will not change. So you want to do your review here and you want to spend one week doing implementation? Hey, I'm going to say good luck, right? So it's up to you. The hard deadline for the implementation is this week over here, which is the December 2nd. Okay, that's the hard date. That will not change no matter what happens. It will not change. It will not change. So you want to stretch your review for the plan? Because I need to give you feedback, right? I need to tell you, oh, hold on, no, make changes. And I've given a lot of feedback to students to make changes, especially with their design. So you're okay. Even the project schedule, like, because we can work on that. That's not a problem. But your design will be the foundation for you starting the implementation. You don't do your design properly, you're going to get lost. And you need my feedback. And if you don't want to sit with me to give you feedback, you're messing up your project, which means you have to start over. If I start giving you feedback and I say, you know, your design is wrong, start making changes, put things over here and there, you're going to have to reboot your project, which means you don't have a lot of time now for implementation. So keep that in mind when you are, if you decided not to, or if you wanted more time, remember that's eating away from the implementation time that you have left. So just keep that in mind. Okay, any questions for me? Anybody, questions for me? Anybody? Anybody questions for me? I highly suggest, I'm glad we are meeting today. Next week on Thursday, I know we start the implementation, there will be an online session. So just to be clear, we're starting the implementation. The first session, we're gonna have an online session because I'll give you some guidelines on how you can start your implementation. Okay? Because I know some people are building their design, but they're still a bit confused how they can get started. It's easy. So we'll talk about it when we come back. So next week on Thursday, we will have a session, an online session. And then after that, on Thursday, I'm also post a schedule for checkpoints. Okay, so there'll be a schedule for checkpoints. I'm not meeting everybody the same day. No, it'll be like a schedule, right? So you'll look at the schedule and we set up our meetings based on that schedule for checkpoints. And of course, and this is something I'm going to explain next week as well. So checkpoints are good for me to see, hey, what are you in your project right now? Because you said in your schedule, you're supposed to be here. Are you there right now? Or do you need more time? Is something not clear about your project? So just touch base. In a lot of cases, during especially the first few weeks, students start to show me errors. Oh, I'm getting this error, I'm getting that error. Yep, you're gonna have to figure that out because I don't get involved. I may give you directions. I'm gonna say, you may want to look at this, you may want to look at that, and that's it. I don't really get into the details too much, right? Because then I'm just helping you out and I'm excluding others, which is not fair. So that's why we follow like sort of like a rule. No, you're supposed to be qualified to do this on your own. You don't know, time for you to learn then, right? And so believe it or not, it's tough the first few weeks before the official review, a lot of students come out and say, I'm glad we did this because now we see how everything fits together. So it'll be a learning process. You guys are going to enjoy it. Not first, at the end. At the end, you're going to enjoy everything. You will see the value at the end. Okay, any questions for me? Anybody? Questions? Going once. Going twice. So I am meeting who am I meeting with today? So I've got Osama and I've got Ahmed. Who else am I meeting with today? Anybody else wants to meet with me? Let me open up a notepad here. Make sure I write everybody's name that they want to meet with me today. So Ahmed. We also got we got Adrian. We got Joseph. We've got Jacob. Oh, Jacob. Anybody else? So I've got Osama, Ahmed, Adrian, Joseph, and Jacob. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Then we are done for today. For those that I have, okay, just so you can see the sequence of people that I'm going to meet. So this is, those are all the people that I'm going to meet today. For those who if you guys want me to meet with you today to look at your plans, I'm fine with that. Anybody else, you can, if you want to wait until the 27th. Remember, I cannot give a grade until I meet with a person. So for people who don't want to meet with me, you're not going to get your grade. So just keep that in mind. I'll look at your documents, but then if you start bouncing back and forth, giving you feedback, you're not going to start the implementation because you're going to make a mess. You're going to send it back to me. I'll have to review it, send it back to you, back and forth, back and forth, back. It's going to eat up away from your implementation time. If we do the changes on the spot when you meet with me, then you can start the implementation like everybody else early. So, okay. Thank you for today, folks. Good luck. I'll be here, of course, in the office for the rest of the class time. And sorry, in the meeting room for the rest of the class time. If you guys want to meet with me, I'm going to start phoning the people who are on this list right away, right after I hang up, and then look at their documents. Good luck, guys. See ya. Remember, next week on Thursday, we meet again.